The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour, where we come to you at the appointed and sacred time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And what do we have? Well, we're down 30 points on the S&P cash, which is 27 now, which is about half of what we were down earlier at the open. We had a lot of volume, and then not a whole lot, and then a fairly decent bounce, and yet another onslaught of short selling. But I think there's a fairly good indication that the retail trader has tossed in the last of his shares. We also have today and maybe a little bit tomorrow the last of fund buying coming in. So we'll see if any of that cash comes, and I think it won't take much to get a bounce out of this market if they start buying late in the day. Mostly because when you get the retail trader, especially the uneducated retail trader, getting short very late in the cycle of bad news, it doesn't mean that the market's not going down. It does mean generally they get fleeced before it does, though. So I'm not a big fan of being short. Maybe in a week or so we could probably wind something up. But it looks to me like we had kind of a little bit of a selling climax today in Wyckoff trading terms. Options are not incredibly bullish, but fairly strong for tomorrow. Look through earnings, and if we get to it, we'll talk about those. But in fact, what do we have here? Did it at the 2 o'clock update, but we've got Starbucks after the bell, Amgen, PayPal, EOG Resources, Square, Expedia, Live Nation, Meli. I'm going to have to look at that. It's pronounced M-E-L-I. The south of the border, Amazon, Monster Energy, Drinks, I think, M-S-S-T, M-N-S-T. Coin, people haven't talked about that for a while. We've got Skyworks Solution, Dash, and Illumina. We got more in the morning, too, but we'll be around in the den as we are generally after the close tonight. We'll look and see how some of these come in. Today, we'll go through the earnings of last night and today and find the winners and the losers in preparation. But as I said, I'm just seeing kind of light volume, and generally after a big move down and what generally is a selling climax, you're going to get some bounces. I'm not wildly optimistic, but I think that there are the few things that the market may start turning on. One is the midterm elections, and thinking that there may be a little bit more market-friendly government starting next Tuesday. The volume, why not ultralight? We were really looking for, and have been for a while, 18 billion shares on the CBOE consolidated volume tape to signal that we could break out these lows and go much lower. Now, maybe that happens in a week. I don't think it happens tomorrow. We got numbers in the morning, and my guess those are going to be fairly positive. Generally, these earnings tonight, I think, on the whole, look like they could be okay. Most of the downside in most of them, I think, has been kind of beat out already. They also have a lot and heavy short interest in many of these over the last couple of days. So I think we could get to the proverbial short squeeze. It doesn't mean anything in the long term, but I dislike being on the short side, at least probably into mid-next week. So we'll see if any of that changes. And it's not wildly optimistic. I'm not looking for us to go up to 4,000 on the S&P next week. I'm just saying that probably, especially a lot of these very concentrated positions that are short, we can see a great deal more pain for those people that are wildly short, very targeted and specific stocks. 877-927-6648. And that's it. path@tfnn.com if you want to send me an email. That's kind of it. Let's go ahead and start, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get to darn near everything. First question of the day came in at MNRA. In the vaccine industrial complex, I am not wildly optimistic. Did I get that right? mRNA. Let's do that correctly. Modern era. Headlines on these are going to be very tough to get by. Going to be a lot of hearings. Again, I don't think these just politically and actually individual lawsuits are going to be very tough on Pfizer and Moderna. We've got a lot of evidence already. It's not like there's not some smoke. In fact, it looks like there's everything but fire around these. Now, whether or not they can make it stick, again, going to be something. But it's not like there's nothing that these guys did wrong. Just depending on just how far someone's going to be able to take the things they did do wrong and say to the bank. But that's going to take a long time. I just don't like the headline risk on a lot of these as they go into a great deal of courtrooms, where it's not what somebody says on Twitter, but what they can prove. And at least from what I've seen, there's a fairly good amount of whistleblowers and proof. 877-927-6648. Anyway, not a big fan. I think on these, the vaccine industrial complex stocks probably at least going to come back and retest the lows. So let's go ahead and get into the stocks that had big earnings and movement. Amerisource, Bergen, ABC, a little bit more juice up here and a nice kind of reversal out here today. Not a lot of volume on the upside, but could be a lot worse. And generally, until I see some kind of selling or buying climax in these, I suspect that they could creep up into the end of the year. AerCap, that's AER, it's back into very heavy resistance. Kind of got into that this morning and pulled back a little bit. A-Lite, A-L-I, yeah, A-L-I-T. Am I not getting this? Let's do this. There we go. A light, kind of a nice, almost bullish engulfing. You have to see how that comes in today. APD, which is Air Products. This is always an interesting one because it's more on the industrial scale. You'll see their trucks. They look like gasoline trucks that deliver to your local filling station. But these guys have one of the few good earnings and movements out here because this is for industry. They deliver a lot of stuff that means that a lot of these companies may be making more stuff. Nitrogen, hydrogen, all kinds of different gases for welding. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month and try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And as we were interrupted, we were saying actually a fairly good sign out here on Air Products, at least for the industrial side of the market, because means that people are companies are buying a lot of industrial gases. That generally means some pretty good business in that sector, more industrial. API Group, not much to write home about on that one. APTV, just a doji out here on the day, so I'm not going to say much. Bookings.com. Very interesting that they got blown out so hard yesterday. Actually, they were kind of a little bit bullish. It was a little higher earlier in the day. I think a lot of people were looking forward, not back, though. Peabody Energy, a nice big move today that gave it all up. And I don't think you can say anything more than that. But certainly ran a lot of folks out on the short side. 2763, the high today was 16 million shares, but closed back below the 3x3 displaced moving average. So fairly bearish in that one. Cummings, we can give it a little bit of loser horn. Huge gap down, of course, on the open this morning, 217.75, but it was repaired about half of that. Of course, they're into making diesel engines for the most part. Another one that you could say had a bit of a haircut and gets its own losing horn is COMM. This is CommScope Holdings. Right back to the previous low, and that's the September 29th low that had 3.5 million shares, and you got 10 million. That does not look good. Bears a further investigation on my part when I get some time. As we said for the last few months, it's hard to be very bearish for more than a handful of minutes on energy. And ConocoPhillips, decent day with some decent volume. And, of course, on a market that is problematic at best. But what can you say? There's always a bull market somewhere, and that is it. I'm just going to be playing the loser horn here for a while. Fidelity National, yet another bad hair day. This one gap down and has continued down. This is Fidelity National Information Services, FIS. Huge volume, huge blowout. We'll take a look back here if there's anything that says that they've got support at any time in the future. Well, you're kind of back into this area of 2016 now. That was February of 2016. Yeah, support comes in around 51, 52 bucks. So you still have the potential for a lot. Now, this gave you a fairly good indication to sell. That is, you had a high on February 14th, 2020, with 7.1 million shares. You got into that on April 29th of 2021 with less than half of that, and it's been lower ever since. Let's take a look at Freshworks, and no big deal on that one. Gillian Activewear, everybody's kind of looking down on retail and continuing. This did go back and touch the previous low. It's going to have probably a little bit more volume. Barrick Gold did break below the previous lows. Of course, let's see on the last tick here on gold, down 17 some odd bucks, which is about 1%. Yeah, off the lows, but not that good. Certainly still languishing. But huge day, huge volume, and not good for Barrick Gold. GPRE, which is Green Plains, excuse me, is got a nice little bounce here going today. Did kind of open at yesterday's low, did kind of push it a little bit, and then turn back around. It's back up to the previous highs with more volume. It hasn't broken them quite yet, but October 4th, 31.37 is the high on that one. Robinhood, we've talked, has some bigger problems. Not going to have them right away with as many people that are short this. And again, we've talked about highly concentrated short positions. These guys have everything that says they could go to the who's cow, and it doesn't matter. There are just too many shorts in Robinhood at the moment. You've got a high that looks like it's going to break through and hold the August 16th high. That was 11.59. Got to 12.79, and you're around 12.50 at the moment. So it's kind of hard to evolve. Oh, full screen charts, please. I should be showing you the screen. Does everybody else have it? We'll see here. I think we do. Full screen chart, please. I should have the full screen here. I see it on my wing. Maybe something else is going on that I'm unaware of. Okay. Fine here. Okay, thanks. Okay, and he's got it, so we're good there. Okay, Intercontinental Exchange, ICE. Nice move back up off the lows. Of course, opened about where it closed last night. Not a lot of volume, though. And again, a lot of people are thinking that the longer the pullback and probably a recession continues, the worse it is for trading volumes, and that's pretty true. A blowout to the below that many people talked about in the den not too long ago, with some massive volume, certainly problematic, but you blew through the $35.40 low on July 14th of this year, of our Lord. And that was, 350,000 shares? You got almost 1 million already. So you've got a real sign of weakness, but you may have enough volume out there to bottom out shortly. Iron Mountain, This one has perpetually been massively shorted. So not surprisingly that it opened lower, continued lower, and then turned right around as people started covering on the short positions. Not a big day higher, but again, tough to keep massively shorted stocks below. And that one has been heavily shorted for at least 2 years. We've got a bounce here today, and that is Johnson Controls into a long-term gap down. That gap came back on May 4th with 17 million shares. You're only into it with 5 million shares, but again, just a lot of these are seeing some kind of a little bit light around the door, but not a lot of volume in this one. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As I said, we're going to try to go through as many of these as possible. The proverbial $8 box of cereal has made the rounds on the zeitgeist of many people. On this, I can't remember a long time ago, in a while, that we ever had this kind of movement on a cereal company at earnings. But man, that's what you call a bearish engulfing candle. If you want to look one up in the dictionary of chart patterns and candles, that's pretty ugly. I don't know if it's well deserved. I haven't had a time to dig into it. Just ugly, ugly, ugly. Marriott International, just a little gap down, not a lot of volume on this. Of course, with a lot of people getting ready to go for Christmas and travel, hard to think that at least until next year, they're going to see anything bigger on the downside. McKesson, certainly a nice move. And, of course, let me just make double sure here. Healthcare Services operates Pharmaceutical International Medical Surgical Prescription Technology Solutions. So you've got that. Okay. Nice day. Not a lot of volume, though, at least not on the downside. Already talked about Modern Era. Another one on the downside is New Skin. It's gotten about half of its massive destruction and blowing through the previous low of September 30th that had 500,000 shares. You already got 1 million shares today. This one is, I remember trading it a long time ago. It's always had kind of a lot of smoke and maybe not a lot of fire. Or you never saw the fire, but there was always either short sellers on it or people with bad news. It's always had a lot of smoke around it and not a lot of fire. Maybe the fire was there when I wasn't looking, but certainly a troubled and checkered past. Maybe I could say that. Okay. Penn Entertainment, just a little bit of gap down, so not much in that. Parker Hannifin, I'm not going to say there's much in that. PNW, Pinnacle West Capital, nice move on a bad hair day, and that is certainly probably headed to the $72 where you had a existing gap down that goes back to the 23rd of September. I don't see a whole lot in that one. To another bad day in BlackRock for Peloton. Actually has been repaired. And again, if you're going to be shorting stocks, God help you if you're shorting stocks under $30, and God help you if you're shorting stocks that have massive amounts of shorts, because unless you're the first one to click and cover the short position, problematic at best. You got a lot of volume. This is running all the shorts back higher. I don't think there's a whole lot in this company. It's probably circling the drain, but we've seen others like that circle the drains for years or months, and even companies like AMC movie theaters be able to cash out for billions, and they will hang around for forever, running the company broke. Quanta Services, maybe the biggest Dragonfly doji I've seen in a long time, although I don't know a lot about it. A lot of questions at the open this morning about Qualcomm. I've got another one I need to get to because I forgot to get to it, and we will address it here, I think, next. And that is these guys have a monopoly. They have a monopoly because they work in an analog part of electronics with RF circuits, and no one else really has figured out what they can do or do well. Apple's tried to duplicate it. The Chinese have tried to rip them off. They even threw one of the guys in a cell, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago, and tried to have him give up the goods. I think he was the vice president. Can't remember now. But anyway, the Chinese tried to get him to cough up all the trade secrets. Even he didn't know them. They've got a handful of people that are extremely smart in that radio frequency business. So what do we need? Well, I think a lot of the downside in Qualcomm has to do with a little bit of Apple, but a great deal more with China and the zero tolerance for COVID, and not being able to actually manufacture products that Qualcomm manufactures. So if you're going to continue to lock everybody down, it's going to be very tough for Qualcomm to sell its products, and I think that's part of it. They are a virtual monopoly. Even Apple said, well, we're not going to have anything that that actually does much to replace their chip. So, yeah, we're going to use Qualcomm for yet another year. I don't see how they ever get anything that works anywhere close to as well. Digital is easy, RF and analog is hard. 877-927-6648. Go here, let's see. Go back to Tiger Chat here, take a quick look. Okay. And what do we have? Okay. Anyway, do I see any big signs yet? No. If the zero tolerance thing in China disappears, I think that would probably set the low for Qualcomm. I answered that question earlier in the den. Restaurant Brands International tried to get back up here. Not a bad day overall. Lots of volume. Is going to close above the 3x3 more likely. Someone who brought this one up in the den, Gibraltar Industries. It's holding its previous highs, and man, any stock that can do that in this market, if it's not energy, you want to keep a close eye on. But as long as this can stay above 49, I think you got to be fairly interested in it. Roku, the company that people called me crazy for saying I had no idea how they made money for a number of years. We found out, well, they didn't make money. And it's been going down pretty much from almost $500 down to 44, what was that, 44.50 today. I still don't know how they make any money. I would want a fairly decent bounce in this thing to short it, but I think they end up being probably bought out by somebody, maybe Google or Metamucil or some other big company, maybe Microsoft, to get a foot in the door of everybody's living rooms. It's probably worth a lot on that. I just don't see how they ever make any money. They showed they made a lot of money, but I'm not exactly sure if that was ever real or if it was just a mirage. Maybe a lot of happy accounting tricks. But, well, I get to say all these years later, I told you so. And also, I informed you thusly. Yes, I did. Anyway, we'll be back in just a minute. We're going to continue to go through as many as we can. Then we'll go on to earnings tonight. We'll look through those charts too.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-Shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
As we come back, we'll try to go through the rest of these. Anyway, Roku kind of back into the trading range, but still problematic. Do we have anything else here? Okay. Okay. And let's see. Spirit Aerosystems did try to blow out the lows today. Did have a lot of volumes closing back in the trading range. Teva Pharmaceuticals did break through the 3x3. Looks like $7.64 is the next stop for some September 27th. You got enough volume today. TPX, Tempur Sealy International, just in a trading range. Don't see a great deal in that one. TRGP, which is Targa Resources, just back up to the previous high. Doesn't look as bad as some. UAA has a nice little bounce out of here. Everybody and their dog was short it, so they get the winter horn. Anyway, back through, not quite, but could hold the high of the 28th of September. That had 9 million shares. You got 14. You did kind of blow through it. There may be something more to this one slowly coming around. I'd still wait and for a pullback to go long any of these. Vontier Corporation, VNT, back testing the previous low. This one, not the blowout volume you might expect. It had 2.2 million shares back on September 29th at 16.55. Haven't even touched 16.55 yet, about 16 cents higher, about 1.7 million shares. So that may be one that needs further interest. Okay, Wayfair, the pandemic darling, has bounced up fairly good. Kind of an intermediate day. Lots of volume, though. WCC, which is Wesco International, dropped the chalupa. And with lots of volume, but has not touched the previous low, 112.08. Got to 114 today with 1.3 million shares. So it's probably going to do double or triple the volume. WLK, which is Westlake, just kind of a open lower, got half of it back. Volume's okay. Not a big symbol in that one. WMS. We look at this one. Another one that dropped the Baby Ruth in the punch bowl. Advanced Drainage Systems. Do we have somebody on the line? Heard something kind of come through. Okay. Doesn't look like anybody's on the line. Sounded like someone was speaking. Anyway, Advanced Drainage Systems certainly the low back here, $80.74. That's on June 22nd, 1.3 million shares. You got 3.5 million shares already, but it looks like it's going to go down and try to tag that $80.74 low of the day, 84.32. Apparently, it's not draining well, and they need to call Roto-Rooter. Zscaler looking to blow through the previous lows. 125.12 is the last major low. That's May 18th. That had 3.8 million shares. And certainly you've got, 125.12. You're headed back down to that. Lighter volume, so you may have this one trying to make some kind of low soon. And see. Big gap down on Zotis, as we pronounce it here. And of course, discovers, develops, manufactures, commercializes animal health medicines. I wonder if they're going to try to use that on me. Vaccines, diagnostic products in the United States and internationally. Yeah, probably lawsuits are a whole lot less. Probably a good business to get into. But, this was a dropping the chalupa and Baby Ruth moment with monster volume as they blow through a great deal of these lows today. Not a good day or a couple of days to miss on earnings. And see, do we have enough time? I think we do. So we'll go back to this. Unless anybody else has questions, we'll go to earnings tonight and update those. Okay, from the clipboard, earnings, yes, I want to replace it. Here we go. Amgen. Well, you're closing underneath the 3x3. This certainly has had a run into earnings here. Down on light volume. Got a lot of gaps below. But they actually, from what I hear, are doing fairly well. I don't know if I'd want to be short that through earnings tonight. Coinbase, of course, the whole story on that has changed. And I don't hear the people beating the drums anymore on Bitcoin as much. But certainly, you got enough volume. $46 the last major low with volume. So you're probably going to test $46. Question is just when and if on earnings. DoorDash, of course, a darling of the lockdown. This has been going sideways. I don't see a lot in the hints of that. EOG Resources, very big into energy, of course. This thing's kind of headed back. I wouldn't want to bet against this thing going through 142.27. That's the June 8th high. Expedia. You hear a lot about travel going to be very good this winter. I think a lot of people are looking past that and into next year with the strong dollar and declining money to be spent on travel for leisure, which I think that's the big part of their business, isn't renting hotel rooms and other things, not just getting the airfare. You've got enough volume, but you're holding the previous high, $88.70. That's the July 13th low with 2.2 million shares. You got into it with more volume today, but it looks like right now you're going to close above that at 89.53. So kind of mixed messages. Illumina, of course, the DNA company, been banging around these lows. Not much of a movement on it so far. LYV. These are all after the bell tonight, by the way. Live Nation, just out testing the lows on lighter volume. Kind of into those candles. I don't know why. I think a lot of people will probably start going to live events again this year, so that may be one to keep an eye on, especially at the first of the year. We turn around. Mercado Libre as we come back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And when we left you on Tuesday, had a couple of people asking about Supermicro. I brought up that I thought that they were a premier company. Doesn't always translate into higher stock prices, but I thought that they had a lot of the hottest products out to go in PCs, and of course motherboards and workstations, and that they may be able to weather the storm a lot better than other semiconductor companies out there, mostly because of the market they have. It's not in cloud services that much, although they do sell it. But they do kind of get into the high-end desktop, especially folks that are in CAD/CAM and other areas where they need workstations to be productive. So if you're talking about buying a maybe a $10,000, $15,000 workstation, they have a kind of the middle, be above the retail kind of crowd and below the big server kind of crowd. They have a very nice niche. Anyway, nice volume on them yesterday on earnings, since I wasn't here, up to 85.95 and a big short squeeze, but a sign of strength, and they're holding the highs. I'm not a big fan of chasing out here, but there aren't going to be a lot of companies that are back up and through highs between now and the end of the year. You want to be on good days. You want to be looking at these companies for higher prices. You can ride the short squeezes on the ones on the downside, but if you're looking for something to sit along with, make sure and keep an eye on stocks like this that have done well. Other than that, we've got Larry Pesavento following up here for Tom today, so make sure and listen to him as we wrap up another great day. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to, and we'll see you here tomorrow.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to